Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I wanted to show you a couple of things. One, well, I don't have the finished product here because my grandson gave it already to his friend. Um, anyway, my grandson, my number 3 grandson, who is local, he's the one that really loves to, he's really loving to sew. And he has he had decided that he wanted to make a stuffy for his friend, and yeah. So he gave me, or rather his mom gave me a couple of days notice and said, hey, he wants to do this. I'm like, okay. So anyway, he had already made, as you guys know, a teddy bear for his mom and a teddy bear for his grandpa. And so he wanted this time to make a lizard for his friend. And I drew up, I drew up a little pattern with him telling me, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. And the pattern originally was maybe, I want to say like this big, so not huge, because I was like, he's 8, so he's probably not going to want to be making a huge thing. I mean, the bears he made were only about that big. So anyway, as we were putting the pattern together, he kept changing it and being like, no, it has to look like this, and no, the snout is too small, and no, the tail needs to be longer, and etc. So the pattern ended up being this big. Yeah. Okay, so there's his lizard pattern. So yeah, I tried to do not super curvy, because I mean, he's 8 and he hasn't really sewn much, so I wanted to make it as so that he could be as successful as possible. So yeah, so there's, that's about as curvy as I made it. And yeah, so there it is. If you want to see a picture of the finished product, I'll put that on my Instagram at myLalaMakes, and you can see it there. It came out so cute, so cute. I told him, oops, sorry about that. I told him he could choose the fabric out of my fabric in the studio, and he went straight. I mean, this thing caught his eye immediately for this fabric, which is fireflies. Look how fun that is. I love that. So so you can see where we cut out the lizard. There it is. Okay. So and then we used, what was it? So we used that for the body, and then for the claws, he said, oh, lizards have claws. I said, oh yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. I'm not sure how, but we ended up taking some waterproof canvas, and he drew, I cut out like rectangles, and then he drew the claws on them, and then I snipped them out, and we attached them to the legs. And he said, oh, lizards have a forked tongue. Excuse me. And I said, oh, they do. And he goes, yeah. And so we found some red. Praise be to God, I happen to have some red waterproof canvas. So we cut that out, and he was like, oh, it should be this big, this big. And then he cut the fork and the tongue, which was really cute. So yeah, and we tried to use his own Singer So Handy that I got him, and it was catching. It needed to be oiled, so. And I didn't have any oil with me, so that was a bust. So I let him very carefully, with much supervision, use my my Singer heavy duty 4452. But I was like, okay, but you have to wear your goggles, and which I got him specially for sewing, because, you know, broken needles, take no chances. I told him, you know, just like Lola wears her glasses to sew to protect her eyes, you need to wear your goggles when you sew. And yeah, so, and I had him keep his hands far away from the needle area and all that fun stuff. I have this little handle thing on my, can you see it? Yeah, there it is, on my turning wheel. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, that's to make it easier for my arthritic hands to move this, rather than having to try to twist this way, which already hurts. Yeah, so he needed to keep away from that, because when that thing gets going pretty quickly, that hurts and you could lose a finger. So I made sure I stood like, oop, pattern's falling. I made sure I stood between him and that. And then yeah, and I ran the pedal so that I could control the speed, and then he ran the fabric. So it was very much a joint effort that way. But yeah, so he did great. We started down here, and then he sewed it up there and had me help him go around these edges, because we wanted to make sure that we caught the claws, because Pia didn't think of basting the claws on first to make sure they stayed where they needed to be. So yeah, and then all these tight curves I sewed, and then he did all the other ones. And yeah, and so it turned out so cute, and he is so proud of himself. And I found out from his mom that his friend absolutely loves it and keeps that lizard on his bed. So that's really cool. That's really, really cool. I love that. Yeah, and so I finally got to oil. I bought another bottle of sewing machine oil. And now I'm gonna find my old one, I know it. But anyway, I bought another bottle of sewing machine oil, and I went and oiled all of our sew handies. So they're all ready to go, and I tested them and stuff, and it turns out that like his, because they're both the brown ones, one's a smooth and one's a crinkle finish, his sew handies have the little handle that don't, for some reason, don't spin when you crank it. So I grabbed a handle off of one of my little sew handies that does spin, and I put it onto one of his. So he's got one that spins and one that doesn't, so it makes that easier. At least I'll send that one home with him, so he can sew at home. And if I can take off one of my other ones that spins, I'll replace the other one of his too. So anyway, yeah, and then we do have a Janome 311 Arctic Crystal color that he can use, and I got that for him for Christmas. His birthday and Christmas are like days apart, so I was like, did I give it to him for his birthday or for Christmas? Anyway, I think it was for Christmas, because I gave him the H2O to go water bottle sling for his birthday, and a journal for his birthday, as he asked for. So yeah, so anyway, that one, that Janome 311 is waiting and getting, you know, gonna get set up soon so that he can use that here. And yeah, so he's so excited. He says, now I can sew whatever I want, whenever I want. Oh, gosh, I love this kid. So anyway, if you want to see that finished lizard, go to my Instagram, and I'll pop a picture up there for you. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you, this one is for my 9-month-old youngest grandson. I wanted to make him something special for Christmas. You know, I didn't want to just give him you know, another toy or another whatever. So I had some fabric left over from the teddy bear that I made him, the keepsake bear, which of course he can't use because it's not a toy, right? It's got those safety eyes in it, and even though they're safety eyes, it's definitely still not a toy. It's a keepsake. So that kind of sits up on display, and I wanted him to be able to use something that that has his mommy and daddy's stuff on it. So these are leftovers from the clothes that they gave me. Okay, see that? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, okay. So there's squares from the clothes and the receiving blankets. Okay, so the receiving blankets are up here in the corners. Those are from his daddy. and then the squares all in the middle are from baby clothes that his daddy wore, and then this lace that frames it all is lace from his mommy's baptism and first communion dress. So yeah, there's that, and I'm just learning to piece things, you know, and stuff. So yeah, so I made that 9 block, and I was like, now what do I do with it? What can I do with it that a baby would be able to use? So I looked through my stash, and I had some really fun little flannel that says, I love mommy and I love daddy. I love that. And it happens to kind of match. So I used that as the background for the front. And then on the backing of the little blanket, I used this one, which is, you know, seascape, so with sea animals and stuff, because his mommy and daddy both love to fish, and so I wanted to bring that into it too. So yeah, so it can be just, you know, it's a 16 by 20 finished little blanket. So very, what do you call it? Convenient to travel with, I guess. He can use it in his stroller as just a little cover up, or in his car seat maybe, or just to play with and snuggle with, because it does have texture due to that lace. So I hope that his parents like it, and yeah, and I hope he gets lots of good use out of it. So there's that for him, and I just got to send that off. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. I've been also winding fabric upon fabric on comic book boards, and making quite the dent in my fabric stash, and getting it nice and organized so I can see what I want to use when I want to use it. So that's been nice. Other than that, doing lots of plans, playing with things, learning new things. This one is fun. I saw prosperity hens on a video, and how to make it. And so there's this, and you know, once you put it on a ribbon, and you put a what do you call it, a bead in there, it kind of pops this down a little bit, and so it looks more like a hen. So that's fun. I'm having a good time. We have a little beak and little tail. So yeah, I'll show you guys that at some point when I get a few done, and I can show you the string of prosperity hens. But I'm having a good time with those. Those are really fun. Okay, well, that's it. I'd better get off to work, and thanks for stopping by today, and I hope you have a really good day.